There are two questions that I get asked all the time on my channel. Number one, what is wrong with her eyebrows? There's nothing wrong with them. Just leave me alone, okay? The second question is, what are some of my favorite dishes that I have cooked or ones that I make again and again? That crust is so good! Oh my God. That is so good. It's like the best thing ever. So I have rounded up what I am considering my current top 5 dishes from the channel that I truly have made many times since the first time. And I want to thank Trade Coffee for sponsoring today's episode. I wasn't sure what kind of coffee I really liked, and when I found Trade, this coffee subscription service, they helped me find the grinds that are best suited to my taste. Trade Coffee has relationships with over 55 roasters, so you can have craft coffee from all around the United States at home. And every bag ships within 48 hours of roasting, and you can decide whether you want whole bean or pre-ground. It always arrives fresh, and it always smells amazing. If you'd like to try a Trade Coffee subscription, you can use the link which is down below or here on the screen. It's drinktrade.com/Beryl, and that will give you your first bag free and $15 off specific plans. Okay, it's time to get to the top 5. Coming in at number 5 is the cucumber pancake that I made from India.
Hello everyone, my name is Aary. I live in Pune, Maharashtra, India, and the dish I want to share with you all today is Kakadiche Dhirde. Kakadiche Dhirde are Indian savory cucumber pancakes which are paired with yogurt. I love Kakadiche Dhirde because they are soft, melt in your mouth and crunchy at the same time, which saves your palate from going monotonous. My grandmother used to pack these for me in lunch at the school, and this is one of my most fond memories. We also make it sometimes with jaggery by skipping the spices in it and making it sweet, and still we pair it with curd or yogurt. Kakadiche Dhirde are not that popular in India. Cucumbers are generally used mainly for raitas which are paired with biryani. The property of cucumbers that they don't go soggy even after coming in contact with water and heat. They still remain crunchy, and that is what makes it the hero ingredient. So I want this dish to be tried and known by everyone so that they get to know about the differences in its textures. I hope you all like this dish as much as we Maharashtrians do. So yeah, thank you so much.
I did not even know that cucumber pancakes were a thing, and these look amazing. Gonna have it with some curd. Wow. This is so cool. I've never had anything like this in my life. You can actually taste the cucumber, like you can taste that subtle hint of freshness, and there's still some crunchiness to it. I think one of the reasons that I can taste the cucumber is because this dish is not that heavily spiced. I put a little bit of green chili and some cumin seeds, and the turmeric gives it a bit of a nice yellow color, but that's it. Wow. The texture of this, because of the rice flour, is definitely not so pancake or crepe-like, but more maybe bread-like, if that makes sense. That does mean that these are gluten-free, so if you can't eat gluten, you can have this cucumber pancake that's delicious and nutritious. Wow. I think this dish is especially surprising to me because, you know, the cucumber is grated, but it's cooked and heated in this pancake. Again, like, you think you know something and you don't. Cucumbers, I had them all wrong. I thought they were only good for one thing, and they're good for so many things. This is one of those dishes where I think if you're interested in trying out Indian cooking but are a bit intimidated by it, which I think is fair enough, this is super simple, does not have that many ingredients, and is very easy to execute. The recipe is in the description along with all the other recipes that you see in these shows, so don't forget to look there. Number 4 is from my chickpeas episode, Chickpeas Fatteh from Lebanon. The chips really make it.
Hi Beryl, my name is Yasmina. I am originally from Lebanon. The dish I want to talk about today is called Fatteh hummus or chickpeas fatteh. There are a few other variations for the dish. I like to have mine the non-traditional way. The dish is usually layered, and I start out by assembling my warm chickpeas, followed by the yogurt and garlic. And then you have all the crunchy bits from the nuts and the bread. I enjoy crunchy food a lot, and at the very top, the deep fried Arabic bread. I like to substitute it for toast because sometimes it's on hand for me. What makes the dish very special is the garlic and yogurt mixture. It's a staple in our country, and you can find many other dishes with yogurt and garlic. The garlic has a very spicy taste, but then the yogurt comes in and it kind of cools off the spiciness from the garlic.
I feel like it needs just like a little more garlic.
I was a fool to have followed the garlic ratio. Always one more.
You can find it in any of the specialty breakfast places in the country, but sometimes when I don't have time to prepare my lunch, I just throw it together and have it for lunch. The reason why the chickpeas are the staple in the dish is because of their buttery and creamy texture. They bring the runniness of the yogurt and the crispiness of the bread all together. The chickpeas also absorb the flavors from the olive oil, from the yogurt, and from the garlic really, really well.
We're having a little bit of a three bears moment. The first oil, little too low. Second oil, little too hot. Okay, are you okay, oil? This one should be just right. Please be just right. Oh God, this one seems like it's still too hot. No, this one's good. I think I'm good at frying, and then I get terrified.
I learned about this dish from my mom and my dad. As a child, I used to be a very picky eater, and fatteh used to be one of the very few dishes that I used to enjoy eating a lot. Also, something else that's very important to me about the dish is that we used to have it on Sundays with my dad for breakfast. He used to work a lot, so it used to be our time together. The ingredients are not really special, but when you combine them all together, they are like tasting a new flavor, and it's something that you do not expect. I hope you guys enjoy.
I think that this dish looks so beautiful, and there are definitely ways that you could make this a kind of like instant dish just by buying pita chips and then like boom. But on this show, if I just opened a bag of pita chips and put them on a plate, it wouldn't really quite have the feel of what we're doing over here. So my first homemade pita, this spoon looks like delicious. This is a pretty big bite. Let's do it anyway. It was too big. I'm sorry, internet. Wow. Are you freaking serious? Well, this might be my new favorite meal. Carbs, protein. Feels great to me. The first time that I had garlic yogurt was when I made a Turkish egg dish called çilbir, and it changed my life. And it's just like so simple to make because you just have to smush the garlic. But Yasmin was right, like everything in here works so well together. That bitingness of the garlic mixed with the creamy yogurt and the creamy chickpeas and then the crunchy bread. I also love crunchy food, so I get why this is such a great dish for crunchy girls like us. Come on. The one thing though is you kind of have to eat this right away because even while I've been yip-yabbering away here, the pita chips with the yogurt are starting to get softer. And it's not bad, but you know, you're here for the crunch. God, you know what? This is like Lebanese nachos because you have like all the layers of all the toppings, and like I kept wanting to get like the ones on the bottom that have all the stuff, not like the bare chip over here on the side. You know, like on the nacho plate, like there's the good stuff, and then if you're too slow, you end up with like that one weird naked chip with the like one string of cheese on it, and you're like, I'm happy with this. Maybe. If you're not afraid of frying, I would recommend frying your own pita chips because like there's definitely a different flavor than buying pita chips from the bag, but, and totally fair if you're like, I don't want to fry pita chips, I honestly think like this is one of these amazing dishes that you can whip together by buying everything and just Bob's your uncle, you're done. And there's something very special about a really delicious dish from another culture that you can get from the aisles of your supermarket. And this is that. Amazing chickpea dish. Yum. Number 3 is Mayak goreng or drug eggs from South Korea. They are a staple in my house at this point in time.
Hi everyone, my name is Shannon. I'm a Korean American living in France. The dish that I'd like to introduce you to is called Mayak Gyeran, which translates to drug egg. And I know that sounds a bit weird and maybe scary, but no drugs are involved. It's just that the eggs are so good, they're addictive, hence the name. It's common to serve these eggs over a bowl of hot rice. So this particular dish blew up in Korea in 2018, and that's when I found out about it. There is a more traditional dish called Gyeran jorim, and that is soy braised eggs. So that is actually made on the cooktop, and you braise the eggs in a hot soy brine, whereas Mayak Gyeran is just left to marinate in the soy sauce. So I really like this dish because it's super easy to make with quite common ingredients. It tastes phenomenal, which is important when you want to make something or eat something. And it's just a step above your regular rice and eggs. The soft-boiled yolk just really elevates the dish. It's so beautiful and decadent for just a simple dish. The flavors are truly Korean, and that just always brings me back to my childhood. I was born in Korea, but I grew up in the US, and my mom was the cook in the household. She made everything, and luckily she made Korean food more often than not because that's all I pretty much ate. And when it came to food, she would always tell me that I'm more Korean than her. I could use chopsticks better than her, and I just take that as a compliment. And I hope that my daughter can appreciate and will love Korean food as much as I do. I think you should give this dish a try because it's super easy to make with common ingredients. And if you're somebody who really likes flavorful things, I think this will just be an instant hit. So, there's really no reason not to make it. Enjoy! 맛있게 드세요!
Starting with some drug eggs. I think that I've seen these eggs trending on TikTok, so it was very exciting to get to learn a little bit more about them. Also, they look pretty amazing. My jammy yolk is jammy. I need a moment. This might be one of the best egg dishes I've ever had in my entire life. There is nothing better than a spicy, savory, marinated egg, honestly. The marinade for these was obviously very simple. I didn't have rice syrup. I did buy it at the Korean grocery store, but I'm also linking it below in case you want to buy it online because you want to try to make this. You could see how thick the consistency was. Shannon said that you could also use honey if you couldn't find rice syrup. She also told me in an email that these could last 5 days in your refrigerator. Who's letting these sit for 5 days? Honestly, I feel like I could eat all of the eggs at once, which would be, that would be too much, right? Kind of okay, I know I've already said TikTok, but you know that other girl on TikTok who eats 7 eggs for breakfast every morning? If they were like this, I definitely could do that. Is there anything more satisfying than when you're peeling an egg and it all comes off? It's there's something about that I feel deep inside of me. But then on the other end of the spectrum, when everything's just chipping off and then it rips a whole chunk of the white out, it's like a seesaw of emotions where you're feeling so amazing to then feeling just so sad. 10 out of 10. Don't ignore me when I say that this dish is hard to beat. I will see myself out. At number 2 from my chili episode is Ema Datshi from Bhutan. It was one of the most delicious things I've ever made, and I cooked it for my family since, like I said, and everybody loves it.
Hi, I'm Pendhay. I'm from Bhutan, and the dish I'm going to be talking about today is Ema Datshi, which translates to literally chili cheese in Dzongkha. Ema Datshi is so interesting because it's a mixture of chilies, cheese, and a few other vegetables, and it's a little bit brothy, so it's like a soup too. And it's so good poured over rice. I love it so much.
If you're thinking, yeah, okay, 5 jalapenos, but I want more chili. Yeah, there's green chilies in this recipe as well. This is gonna be fun. I'm scared.
You come back home from a long day of work and you can make it in like what, 20 minutes to half an hour and it's done. It's so simple and so easy to make.
The second you know that you can't touch your eyes, all you want to do is touch your eyes. Don't do it.
It tastes very warm for me. It's a little bit spicy, also a little bit cheesy. It's very comforting. It makes you feel very warm inside. This dish is very common for Bhutan. Each family would have its own special way of making it. You can make it different ways every time you make it. And because of that, it can be found differently all over Bhutan. And I think it's such a beautiful thing.
This recipe is a real who's who and what's what of cooking terminology because we have slit the green chili, slice the onion, chop the garlic, and dice the tomatoes. So you kind of need to know the difference between all of those, and I do.
Everyone eats this. It's a national dish of Bhutan. You can make it anytime, and that's why I think it's so beautiful. I mean, that has so many good memories for me because as someone who's living away from home right now, I can make it anytime I feel homesick. And then you can use any type of chili in this dish. You can use dried red chilies, whole green chilies.
I don't know, I probably shouldn't use my hands for this, but too late.
Or you can even use small red chilies that are known to be a little bit spicier. And depending on the type of chilies you use, it can be from not very spicy to really spicy. For example, if you use the small green chilies, or as you call it, Jitsi Ema back home, which literally means rat chili, it would be really spicy. But if you use something like whole green chilies, where it's a little bit milder in taste, it won't be as spicy. But depending on the type of chili, I could say it could range anywhere from about 4 to 9 or 10 in terms of spiciness. Chilies are a big part of my culture. Back home, you can find chilies in almost every type of dish. To combat spice in my culture, like I said, we have to eat it with rice. And mbuttunate without a rice is a crime. At least in my family, we do eat a lot of yogurt. I think that really helps. But other than that, I think we just got really used to the spice, I would say. People should try it because I think it's something new. I think it's very unique to my culture at least. And I think it's so simple, it's so tasty. And I think the fact that anyone can have access to the ingredients to make it is so beautiful.
I'm a little nervous. I've just never like jalapeno to the face, you know? This is, okay, but it's like cheesy. I'm not gonna eat like a full slice of jalapeno, let's be real. That's so good. It's like a jalapeno popper soup. It's spicy, like there's definitely heat in this, but the amul cheese with the spicy jalapeno, bro, I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. And to think like 5 seconds ago, I was so scared to eat this, which honestly might be one of my new favorite foods. This is so good. That green chili that I split up completely disintegrated into this. Like, I was like, oh, it's just there for flavor and you pull it out, but no, it's gone. 10 out of 10. Bhutan. And number 1 is Melanzane mbuttunate from Italy. I have made that dish many times, including when I went to India to see my family, and they loved it. I even made it in my new PBS show that is coming out in a couple months.
My name is Stella and I live in Rimini, Italy. When it comes to eggplants, I'm very partial to them, but one of my favorite ways to eat them is Melanzane mbuttunate. Melanzane mbuttunate literally means patterned eggplant for the way they get scored on the inside.
The recipe says score the flesh with a knife. I watched a bunch of YouTube videos and I think that I just need to create like divots for everything to go in. I'm gonna go like this. Yeah, that's probably, I don't know how deep. Hello, my flesh has been scored. Okay, all right. Salt.
The secret to a great eggplant is to sprinkle them with salt and let them rest for half an hour. And then you can rinse them and pat them dry. This way they'll never be bitter, and then you can start your recipe.
Stella's grandmother's recipe calls for wild fennel, which is not something that's really common here, but she said that you can use dill, which is something I'm very familiar with. Excuse you. I love dill, but it gets everywhere and it is so hard to pick up once it's like a little speck on your counter. And I've said it once that dill is the glitter of the herb world, and I stand by it, even though I love it.
It's a dish originated from the south of Italy.
Somebody told me in the comments that I actually don't need to peel my garlic for this garlic press, so I'm gonna do a quick little test here. Oh my God, you don't need to peel your garlic. Look at that, that's the skin. That is so.
And it's one of those recipes where everyone has its own variation. So don't count for me, fellow Italians. My recipe comes from my grandmother, Maria, and she seasoned the breadcrumbs with salt, black pepper, chili powder, minced garlic, wild fennel, and a generous pour of extra olive oil. She also sneaked a secret slice of guanciale inside of them.
I just want to add like a little bit of Parmigiano Reggiano because I think it'll be so good.
The first bite, you feel the caramelized cherry tomatoes and then the super soft and creamy aubergines, almost indistinguishable from the breadcrumbs at this point. And you get the hints of sweetness from the white fennel and savoriness of guanciale.
I feel like that. This dish definitely feels like a grandma dish. It's just like, it's a lot of hand labor. And I feel like hand labor dishes are dishes that you make for people that you really care about. I like don't really cook like this on my own usually. I like it. It feels special. But also, get in!
And depending from how much black pepper and chili you put in it, and a kick in the end.
Oh no. They don't fit, so I have to just do a little surgery and lose the aesthetic tops. I think that'll be fine. Sorry.
We consume melanzane mbuttunate either at lunch or dinner as a side dish, but honestly they're pretty great on their own. It's easy to make and it can be prepared in advance, and honestly it's one of those dishes where it gets even better the next day.
60 minutes later. Whew.
I actually never met my grandmother, and making her favorite recipe is a way for me to maintain a memory and feel connected to her. I hope I convince you to give it a try, and
I would say
I
like it
hope you
wasn't
enjoy
difficult
it
to
too.
make, but it like to say that my house smells like an Italian kitchen would be the understatement of the century. It is glorious in here. This is so good. I feel emotional. Ooh, this piece has the meat. That's like a sneaky little thing there that Stella's grandma did. I love it. The breadcrumb stuffing on this is just, oh. The recipe that Stella gave me from her grandmother, peak grandmother recipe, just not a single measurement in there. And so I had to guess on a lot of things. Like, am I oversalting this? I have no idea. Number one, I got the amount of stuffing perfect. I literally made the perfect amount of stuffing. There's not a square to spare. Empty bowl. Everything just worked. It tastes like a version of home that we all kind of fantasize about, if that makes sense. I like that it feels like it's breaded, but it's not breaded. The breadcrumbs are giving like, what are they giving? It's giving good. They're giving good. I was saying while I was cooking this that it was a very hands-on cooking experience between like the cutting of the eggplants and then the stuffing of everything and like getting it all in there. It felt very tactile. God, this is like the dexterity of a frickin' toaster right now. A very hands-on project. Wash your hands before you do this. When you're cooking, you know, you can be using a bunch of instruments and be kind of disconnected from the food. This, I felt very connected to the dish the whole time. This wasn't a quick dish to put together. Like, this isn't like a, like, what do I want for dinner? Oh, I'm just gonna slap this together. It's definitely like a dish that you would think about ahead of time, but it is special. And wow, I'm like really happy about it. I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm gonna finish this bowl. There you have it.
the answers to your most burning questions. My eyebrows are fine, and those are my 5 favorite dishes that I've cooked recently. If you're looking for other top 5s that I've made, I'm leaving them right here for you, and I will see you all in my next episode.